Hi, and welcome once again to What's the Damage, companion show to the incredibly well-known and popular actual play D&D stream Roll for Damage, now with extra vitamin LGBT. Happy Pride Month, guys! Yay! I'm gonna be Rainbow all month, and we're doing a charity stream, as you probably saw on Friday, for every crit 20 and crit fail. Yeah, for every good thing and really bad thing, we're donating $1 to charities. So that was cool. We did very well on Friday. Anyway, speaking of Friday, the Shields of Twilight had a nice little hike that episode as they ventured into the forest in search of the mysterious corruption that was infecting themselves and others. As the party members got into first a physical fight and then a verbal fight with some plants, they crept deeper into the forest and discovered that this strange corruption was not affecting just people, but was also affecting like the natural world. It was really weird and gross. Then there was an attack. They were confronted with some really weird plant, fungus, chicken nugget creatures. Uh, they did triumph against these chicken abominations, and they were able to clear the corruption from this little part of the woods. But more questions still remain, as the disfiguration that they are suffering from has not faded yet. And there is someone or something in the forest calling themselves the Mother, lurking in these woods. We'll be talking about that very shortly, and then later we'll be talking about opening scenes and getting the party all introduced. Should be fun. As always, stick around after the stream for interesting stuff, useful links, and cool places to send your money. I'm your host, Truth Venson, and this is What's the Damage? Welcome back. I am joined today by two lovely guests. We've got Chad, who plays Quinn. We've got Laura, who plays Peregrine. How are you guys doing today? It's a lovely June day.
Hooray.
Yay. Anyway, so you guys spent the majority of this episode fighting some possessed growth fungus things. What's the damage?
They was gross. That's basically like the long and short version. Gross as hell.
I see.
Pretty accurate, actually.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Laura, it's been a little while since you were on the stream, I think. Welcome back. It's been like at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Because you weren't here for the longest time, so I'm kind of like used to you not being on the stream now. But you're always such a joy when you are here. It's like a little treat. Anyway, we missed you. So did Perry have fun in the woods making friends with plants and having slightly uncomfortable discussions with plants?
I mean, she kind of expected the reaction from the tree. First of all, because player knows DM. But also, like, Perry has a sort of weird relationship with civilization versus nature, because where she's from, we just live in it and it's fine. But, you know, everywhere else kind of cuts in. But she was so focused on what she had seen in that vision and what they could be coming across that she wasn't super focused on the tree situation. She was like, okay, yeah, no, I understand. Civilization
Like, yeah, I know.
bad, nature good, people are assholes. I'm sorry.
Go
We're trying to
trees.
get people to be better.
Yeah. Even this fantasy world, deforestation is still an issue, sadly. Can't escape it.
It's true.
Anyway, so yeah, a lot has happened since you were on the show, actually. Not necessarily to Peregrine, but definitely around her. There were the Mind
Yes.
Flayers, then Quinn almost died, and Baltaim got himself enslaved, and there was a pit fight, there was some drama with Oriana.
So much.
Can we
So
have
much has
Perry's perspective on all the shit that's happened?
I mean, her big concern is, especially after being in the jungle and sort of being initiated, is that these people are now part of her tribe. So,
God help you.
and for her, tribe means family, and she doesn't want to see anything bad happen to them. And all of the infighting and all of the constant conflict was tearing them apart, quite literally destroying them. And that sort of fear sort of set in for her. And so she got really quiet at first because she felt like, because Quinn is the only one who's like really ever jumped to her defense, she started to partially feel like, no, this is my fault. Like, this is my fault. I'm going to have to, take a step back. But every time she did, something worse would happen. Things would get worse. Somebody would say something, somebody would do something. And then the conflict with Oriana just sort of came to a head. And part of it was she started to notice that people were treating her like she hated the rest of the party except for Quinn. And that's not true. She loves them like family. And if you know what that means, they're going to fight like family. So for her, it was a lot of, we have to fix this. It is now or never. This is make or break. Either we come together or the darkness is going to consume us all. And so for her, that's sort of been the big fear. And now she feels like, okay, we've had this talk. We had that fight in the pit fight. And, if the other group hadn't been so much faster than us, we had a really good plan. And we didn't argue. We didn't fight about it. We were like, okay, this is the plan. All right, we're going to do this. And then, we were slower than them and got our asses kicked.
It happens.
But it happens. And it was like, if we were going to get our asses kicked, at least it happened somewhere where there were clerics.
And no real consequences.
And no real, well, I mean,
except for like growths, absence. Yeah, but it's not hurting you. It's benign.
Yeah. Plus, we think murdered the source, at least locally.
We totally didn't. I 100% don't think that
locally,
we totally
the source locally.
The source.
We'll see.
Not the total source, no, but like whatever caused it locally, we may or may not have cleared up because it stopped. So that may, also clear up your skin and such. For clear skin, slay things in the forest that look like they came out of the color of space.
Good exercise, I guess.
Yeah,
it's good for skin, right? I don't know. Is exercise good for skin? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for confirming. Anyway, so after Quinn sort of died, sorry, we're going through the last like 4 episodes because so much has happened.
We do a lot of shit.
We do.
You do a lot of shit.
Things.
You've done a lot of shit recently too, as everything's been very jam-packed and exciting.
Yes.
But I wanted to talk to you specifically because after Quinn died and didn't die, got nommed on, but not to death. Perry and Baltaim both reacted extremely emotionally with violent rage. So I kind of wanted to hear about that because we've spoken to Baltaim about that, I think.
It was sort of like a final straw. Here we are again. This is like a series of, we just had this conversation about how we need to stop dying. Like, it's ridiculous how much we die. And part of that was fury at what had she thought killed Quinn. And part of that was fury at the group for failing to work together, because she feels like that's what happened. Somebody either is not participating, or somebody is thinking only of themselves, or we're just not working as a team. And we know that we have done it before. So it was like a two-part sort of, I really like, I for real thought we were going to have like a bad wild magic surge. I mean, like Perry was going to literally explode. Because for her, it was the impact of, there's nothing we can do. Even if I had a diamond, there was nothing I could do. And for her, that was infuriating, because she super hates to feel powerless. And that's where she was.
Gotcha. Very kind of trapped animal response.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good shit.
Makes sense.
Good shit.
Nobody puts Perry in the corner.
No, or they
never
get
works
bit.
out well.
They get mauled, or potentially like sucked into a black hole. Either or.
A lot of stuff could happen.
Things happen when Perry
problem.
gets upset.
Yes.
Yeah, she has a very unpredictable way of hulking out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this has been a bit of a whirlwind. Your characters, Quinn and Perry, are they feeling at all overwhelmed, or have they become accustomed to kind of this being their life, the constant cascade of weird things?
I don't really think Quinn is feeling overwhelmed. I'm not sure if he's capable of feeling overwhelmed anymore, because when his whole thing started, it was literally at the worst day of his entire life. Like when his whole story starts off, and then he just gets into progressively stranger and stranger and stranger things. And he said this before in character, is at this point, he has to either accept that this is just what his life is, or he's gone crazy and this is all some sort of hallucination. And he's just lying somewhere drooling while dreaming up all this madness. So it's this is just his day to day now. It's just become, it's just become, every time something completely messed up happens, he just sort of has to think, of course that's what happened. Yeah,
okay,
no, the ground grew tumors and tumors tried to kill us. Yeah, sure it did. Why wouldn't it? Why is that not what happens today? What's next? Oh boy. And now those things in like robes are trying to suck the life out of as well. Oh boy. And those trees look like fleshy things. Oh yes. This is exactly how my day was going to go. Exactly. When I woke up this morning, I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kick the shit out of some chicken nuggets in the middle of a flesh forest, because that is my life now. So yeah, he can't really be overwhelmed, because he's just sort of like, whatever it is, he just expects, of course, the weirdest possible thing is what's happening right now. Why the hell not?
They say you can get used to anything.
And that's kind of where he's at. He's just trying to get used to anything.
Yeah. I mean, for Perry, like, she was always told the world outside the forest was unsafe. She was like, okay, yeah, no, there are bears out there. It's, I know to be careful about the bears. It's fine. I
love that sort of go-to, like, yeah, no, of course there's bears out there. Sure, that's like the end-all be-all of danger. Okay, great.
Well, I mean, for her, it kind of was, because
I
like
understand.
she had barely left that village, and like she was like aware of like, okay, so occasionally a hunter doesn't come back, or occasionally something bad gets in. But for her, the extent of what was dangerous was the natural world itself. And for her, that's just a part of life. That's balance. And now, okay, so something tried to eat Quinn's brain. And also we fought a dragon, sort of. And oh yeah, there were those chimera things, and there's this and there's that. And so for her, it's sort of like if she takes it day by day, she's okay. And that's part of why she draws everything. Like if she sits down and she draws it and she's okay, this was real, it happened, deal with it, then she can move on. But if she stopped too long to just start contemplating the gravity of the situation, she might start to have a panic attack. Maybe.
And then a black hole develops and we all
Oh,
die. And
there's a
And then
campaign
everybody
2.
stops being able to breathe.
Suddenly we're shunted to the vacuum of space.
Oopsie.
Okay.
Whoops.
Quinn would just be like, well, this is my life now.
Yeah, Quinn would be like, oh, yeah, this doesn't
Nope.
surprise me.
Nope, this is totally how I die.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not? The druid went crazy. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, he's just rationalizing everything. Oh, yeah, sure, of course this is happening. And now I suffocate in a void. Goodbye.
Goodbye, cruel world. You were
It's
weird.
quiet now. I appreciate that.
One moment of peace before it all ends. Anyway, so before we move on, I wanted to get you both to talk about the pit fight briefly. If you'll cast your memories back, did you guys have fun? It looked fun.
Aside from getting the holy ever-loving shit kicked out of us, yeah, because it was a good way to try and figure out, how we'd be able to actually work together. And like Laura said earlier, we made a plan. We had a good plan, and the best part about that plan was that nobody was bickering about the plan for like 7 hours all the way leading up to the fight. Instead of running into constant, no, I don't want to do that, or no, I don't like that idea. It was just, we were compound. It was like a nice roundabout yes and, like everybody's like, yeah, we can do that, and also this thing, and also this thing, and if this happens we can do this thing. Like we were just throwing contingencies out there. Like we were doing planning the way you should do, by taking a handful of spaghetti, yeet it at a wall, and see what actually sticks, because all the options were on the table. And it's like, for once, there were no bad ideas, like everything was something that could be used or could be worked with or something. And there was no stone wall of, I don't want to do that. It was all, yeah, okay, let's do that. And I can also contribute in this way. So that was the best part about it, is we did have that plan. It did not work, but we had it, we had it, and that's what matters.
Would it have been more fun if we had been able to do more? Yes.
I mean, yeah, if the initiative board didn't dogpile us real hard.
But, we were all slow. So, and it was just a confluence of a lot of things. But it was nice to have the party sit down and say, okay, well, I know I can do this and this. Would you rather me do this one or this one? And what will work better? As opposed to just constantly butting heads with each other. And also, it was kind of interesting to have Perry be the last person standing.
What, Perry, a bad bitch?
But anyway, I enjoyed it. Combat is never my favorite part of D&D. I don't know a lot of people who love combat that much either. Anyway, but for us to get to like sit down as a group and say, okay, this is the plan, and then to try to execute that plan and not hate each other about it was excellent. And it felt like something that was bringing us together, which I really enjoyed, because we've been bickering for so long.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what did you guys think about like the revelation of blood magic and the fate of that guy you were all looking for, and that mysterious stranger who pulled the tadpole out of that guy's head? That was all pretty weird.
I mean, I don't know how many opinions I have, because for Quinn, it's just, yeah, sure, that happened.
Yeah, Quinn's fine. Quinn's rolling with it.
Well, like, he wasn't there to really see any of what was going on. So it's basically like your friend tells you a really bizarre story, and you just have to listen like, that's messed up. And then just like, that's really all your reaction is, because you can't really process in great detail the things you weren't there, because the crazier it gets, the more you literally have to be there to really understand it. So for him, he's just like, yeah, that's messed up. Sure, that's going to come back and kick us in the ass later on. So yeah, he doesn't really have much about it. Meanwhile, Perry, who was there, I would love to hear her thoughts.
I mean, Perry was shocked, and her initial thought was, oh shit, we were too late, and this guy has killed this guy. Well, damn. But also, like, there was that moment of tension where Perry was literally just watching to see what Lex was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because this wasn't like when they came rolling into the Ocean village and all she saw was someone killing one of her people and she flew into a blind rage. It's kind of funny because for some reason that moment has always like made people think Perry's like crazy impulsive. I'm like, she's not Baltaim, man. It was one moment of like instinct. Well, my people are in danger. I'm going to protect them. But for her, she was like, I'm not going to like roll in on this guy and just, well, I'm about to maul somebody in front of Lex. It's fine. She was sort of taking her cues. So
I don't know how the comparison comes between her and Baltaim, because I mean, Perry did one impulsive thing one time when I'm in a very emotional moment of blind rage. Meanwhile, Baltaim is like, was that free? I'll drink it. What is it? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Tastes acidic. Oh my God, my throat's burning. But
oh no, acid damage. Oh no.
This is when we find the acid that Dobby was always looking for and never found.
R.I.P. Dobby. Always too soon. Always too soon.
Oh no.
Never
anyway, I'm sorry. Go on. I just had to.
No, it's fine. But for like Perry, she wasn't gonna like give this guy her name unless she thought it was safe. Mm-hmm. Like she's not gonna like. She was trying very hard to not do anything really stupid. Because she felt like, okay, well, we messaged Lex and we told her what was going on. And we did a smart thing for a change, like a really smart thing. Because had we rolled in there without her and without any information, shit would have gotten ugly. I know our party should have gotten really ugly. So like Perry's like, okay, well, let's just build on the smart thing. If Lex draws her gun, then I'll attack. But as long as we're all copacetic here, this guy's creepy and he scares the shit out of me, but he's not attacking me, and that's what matters. Like I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna watch and I'm gonna observe and take this in rather than, you know, balls to the wall. Well, I guess I'm gonna eat this son of a bitch. So I was really interested, and I'm super interested in where this whole blood magic thing is coming from, because that's gonna be just delightful. I could just feel it. But like I thought it was a really cool revelation, and and it didn't feel like a loss that we found the guy and he was already dead, because like we weren't going to find that guy alive. I really don't think we were. I mean, I could be wrong. We could have been, you know, maybe if we were faster we'd have found him, but I really don't think we would have. So it didn't feel like losing to find that guy dead with the other guy. So I enjoyed it. And I'm intrigued, but I'm always intrigued. So
yeah, that did seem like a very like relevant plot point that got dropped there. I think we're all pretty excited to see where that goes. Awesome. So moving on to the actual episode, which happened on Friday instead of the previous episodes.
23 minutes in. Let's get to this week.
Look, a lot has happened. We gotta cover it up.
Stuff stays happening to us. It really does. And we stay doing stuff. So
we stay doing. That should be our slogan. Shields of Twilight. We stay doing stuff.
We stay doing stuff. Oh yeah, make a t-shirt out of it.
Yeah, that'll be the second shirt. Shields of Twilight. We stay doing stuff.
Wonderful. Cool beans. So Perry was not the only one to have a close encounter with a plant.
Bastard.
What's it like being knocked on by a fern? I feel like Quinn's getting bit by a lot of things.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate trend. I don't like it, and I didn't like that plant just decided to bite me when I didn't do anything to said plant. I wasn't the one that was hacking away at nature. I was just sort of walking through nature, and you know, the guy who was just destroying things and trying to deforest stuff with a sword was left unscathed. Blue jerk.
They were scared of his sword. Look, he established dominance.
I suppose so. I mean, I get, in a way that does make sense. The plants, we fear the bloom with the sharp blade. Quickly, let us bite the ginger with the blunt instrument. He is no threat to us.
I mean, he hasn't hit anything yet, so...
I know, damn it, I'm well aware.
Awesome. So, what was it like for Perry, like as a druid, seeing the natural world be so weird and fucked up in this way?
Supremely uncomfortable.
Mm.
And for her, deeply disturbing. Like, she has grown up her entire life respecting the natural order of things. Like, death doesn't bother her except when it's her friends and it should be preventable. Like, she accepts death is a part of life.
Mhm.
Nature is a part of life. But to see, for her, part of it was to see that something had literally corrupted nature in such a way, and to not know how to fix it was terrifying, because she spent her life cultivating this relationship with the natural world. Like, I'm good at growing things and I understand animals and I get all of this. This is wrong. It should never be like this, ever. And for her, like, now she is constantly going to be thinking about who the f- is the mother and how do I stop them? Like, who did this? This is an aberration. This is abhorrent and it must be stopped.
Cleansed. Huh. Well, I'm sure we'll find out. Anyway,
Hopefully.
let's talk about your grand fight with the evil broad chicken creatures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those things were
Oof.
just.
That was a rough fight.
It
Like,
was,
a really
yeah.
rough fight.
None of you died though.
No,
Nobody
for
died.
once, everybody lives.
I mean, it was a really interesting fight because it was like trying to get into a position where we weren't going to get struck by lightning or
Mhm.
hit by some sort of acid cloud or have, some sort of actually dangerous tumorous growths happen to us.
Mhm.
Was really difficult.
Yeah, I agree. But like the thing that was getting it for me is those things, they hit like trucks
Mm-hmm.
falling out of buildings, and then the buildings themselves as well falling after said truck. But the whole double up on healing meant that my little bitty lay on hands pool was bringing people back to their full health in just like one boop. So that was an interesting thing to try and figure out a way around. Like, okay, now I see this is how things are going to work. I know what my job is. If I can't hit stuff, at least I can keep people alive.
Yeah. I mean, once we sort of like accepted the danger of healing, like, okay, well, somebody's gonna have to make a con save, but okay, do you want to be alive and maybe ugly or dead? Make your choice.
Priorities.
Prioritize here, folks. Like, I was super excited to do like a neat call lightning in the middle of a storm, and then I lost concentration.
It happens.
It does. It happens to the best of us.
Sad.
I've been a druid in another game, and I tried doing that lightning bear life. It's fucking sweet while it lasts, but it is always fleeting.
Very fleeting. But I did have a cool moment where I got to grab lightning from the sky and call it down. It was fun.
You did. It was dope as hell.
I super enjoy like getting to do that kind of flavor shit when I'm casting. So that was exciting for me.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so you guys were victorious against these mushrooms? Growths? Yeah, tumors against these forest tumors. And you did manage to excise this little infection. But your growths remain. There are still some loose ends. How deep do you think this corruption goes? Like Laura was talking about it a little bit earlier. Like, we've probably not seen the last of this, right?
Oh, Lord, no.
Yeah, no.
I mean, fingers crossed, we've seen the last of it in our general vicinity for the moment. Like, that's at least what I'm hoping, since after we destroyed the stuff that was in the area, things started going back to a normal jungle and not this, horrid, flesh forest thing, which just sounds like the name of the worst porn store. And
oh, God.
Yeah, I'd go in.
I mean, I'd go in just for the experience alone, but
I mean, I would go in for, it's because as a bucket list I went to, in a porn store called Flesh Forest. Check. I can die now. But I mean, like from at least the perspective in the moment, after we destroyed these things, everything went back to normal. Mm-hmm. So my thought is, for the moment, locally, fingers crossed yet again, we should be done with this at this time. Overall, hells no. All 9 hells no, we are not done with this thing. Like, there is going to be more. It is going to be messed up, and whoever this mother is terrible. And we're going to have to find out what that is, and I don't know, reason with it, kill it, get something else to kill it. Those are usually the options that we have. So one of those things is probably going to happen one of these days, and I'm looking forward to seeing how any of that is able to play out. So yes, messed up.
We're definitely not done with this. There is no way that we just, you got rid of the growth and the chicken nuggets. It's fine.
Congratulations. You solved my corrupted forest puzzle. Move on and get your prize.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That is not this DM.
Like,
not
Harry's
by a damn
already
sight.
drawing some conclusions, or at least coming up with some theories. I have to check my notes to see if she drew something specific in her journal, to see how much she recalls about that. But we'll see after we start next week or this week. But I know we're not done with that. Just like we're not done with whatever that shit was that was making us all super ragey in the jungle. There's always more to it. I know the DM doesn't give us combat for combat's sake. Or cosmic horror for cosmic horror's sake, without it actually.
I mean, maybe a little bit of that. Maybe a tiny bit of cosmic horror.
Let's
be fair. Let's be fair. She'll give a little bit of cosmic horror just for the sake of, I'm gonna fuck with these people with the cosmic horror. Like, yeah, that's exactly the kind of person she is. But
I mean, there was Quinn's brain in the jar situation.
Yes, that thing. The brain in the jar.
But I know that there is more out there. There's more to do. Got to dig in the pockets of those weird Roby things and see if anything was left in them. And take bits back to the temple for analysis. I am looking forward to seeing what the heck it is. I am also terrified of what the heck it might be. Given, when shit is super bad, it tends to take one of us and make us attack the others. But I'm interested to see where it goes.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you think, would your characters be inclined to stick around and try to hunt down the mother, or to move on if possible?
I think that we know there's enough going on elsewhere that unless we can find an actual, if we can find actionable intel on this mother thing that is in the area, or something that will lead us directly to something where we can, cut this off and put a stop to it in a more permanent fashion, then yeah, maybe. But there's enough going on otherwise, and we've got enough irons in the fire that we know that our time, while it's not short where we are overall on kind of a clock. So we will need to go somewhere else to take care of the rest of our stuff at some point. So yeah, I mean, without a serious, hard, fast lead right where we are, then I don't think we would.
Bad news, Perry's gonna fixate. Just saying.
Oh, of course she is. It's her thing.
Perry's like, the mother's my nemesis now.
I'm sorry, but something has done some catastrophic damage to nature. Everything is corrupted, and it's my job to fix it. Perry will fixate. I mean, she won't fixate to the point that if there's literally nothing we can do, she'll just sit there and wait for something to happen.
Right.
Because she recognizes the greater world. But she's going to insist that we dig.
Oh, no, of course we are.
This is one of those, she's standing her ground.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
Type of things, which should be interesting, because we keep getting in these moments where everybody else is like, well, we got to go. Perry's gonna be like, no, I have to stay and look into this. We can go after we look into this. This is important. I don't think you get it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, because we're going into the library at some point, that may be one of the next things we end up doing, depending on what else is actually going on in town. Because before we do any of the big let's leave town for a while activities, we wanted to go and do some serious research and figure some stuff out. So while we are there, what I'm saying is, if we find something, if somebody rolls like another wonderful crit for a donation, but the good kind, and we get the perfect piece of information that we would need to go straight at whatever this mother thing is, and we could, at our current level of capability, put a stop to it, then I'm all in. But, obviously we're going to look into it. It's just a matter of, if we can't find anything, then it's just going to be sort of like, oh, I mean, there's nothing else we can do unless we just want to sit around and watch the plants and see if they perk up a whole lot real soon.
They perk up in a bad way.
Yeah. Perk up violently.
Perk up violently.
Well, I mean, we do have an errand to leave town and come back, which is, something.
A couple of
to
those,
address.
actually.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, we could go do Perry's thing and then, like, move on.
Depends on the direction, because we don't know where everything is.
I have to look at my notes for that. But it is not we go and we come back necessarily the way that our favor for Aaron is. So there's that. Perry's pretty sure we're not going to find this in the library because it seems bigger than that. It seems she's tying it together with something else that we've experienced. Which tune in on Friday to find out what that is.
Tune in for Perry's theories.
Or if you're me, wait until your wife leaves the other room and then pin her down with questions because she can't escape you. You're in a pandemic and she lives here.
You're like, hey, babe.
I mean, we might get some like Dobby and Campion style, like putting together the things with the pins and the.
Are we gonna get the Charlie Day Red Thread murder board? Oh boy.
No, actually, I think it's just a little bitty thing, but
it's leaves instead of little pins.
It's leaves. Yeah. It's leaves and they're tied together with like bits of twine, like natural twine.
Leaves and vines just going into little drawings.
Yeah.
And it's all on the side of a tree. No board or anything, just it's all on the side of a tree.
Well, it's all stretched out across like 2 trees, and she's like made a board. Literally from a board. It's a whole thing.
Okay, I have to see this actually happen now.
We won't. That's the thing.
You have disappointed me forever, and now I don't want to play no more.
I mean, it's her theory is not that big, and we'll see how quickly it gets shot down. But tune in Friday to find out.
Awesome. Okay.
But,
shrug. Okay, we do need to move on. Otherwise, we're not going to talk about this at all today. Okay, so for today's topic, we're going all the way back to the beginning of every campaign, where for some reason or another, a party comes together and embarks on a grand adventure. First question: how many of your campaigns have started in taverns?
Well, this one.
I want to say one. This one.
Yeah.
Oh, just one?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of others that I've been involved in, but yeah, I think this is this is the one where we all literally did meet in a tavern.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of them we've met in carnivals. We have met at Vistani campsites. That sort of thing. But I think this is maybe the only one that we met in a tavern.
That's fun. Yeah, because, the taverns sort of become the prototypical way for parties to meet, or that's been my impression, at least.
Yeah, that's the standard, that's...
But that's what everyone thinks of, at least, which is probably like the token influence, or that's my theory.
It might be.
Theory.
It's actually a pretty good theory.
Yeah.
Taverns are where you meet mysterious strangers for adventures. That's just, it's where it is.
Yeah, if you're in a tavern, you see a guy with a hooded cloak off in a corner watching you while smoking a pipe, then that's probably a quest or something, or, and it's extended out to also just... Marker. That's I was actually going to get to that. It's extended out. That influence has gone on to influence, modern video games and such, where you will go to a tavern, and that's because that's where the quest given NPCs are. You see all the question marks floating over their heads, or the little flags on the map say, go here, talk to this guy, and, you know, all that. So, yeah, it's happened enough times that it has become a thing, basically.
Yeah.
Nice. So, what's like the most unique or the funnest way in any of your campaigns that you've hooked up with a party? Something memorable.
I mean, there was that one time that two people were playing a carnival game, and my character walked up and noticed the carnival game was rigged and just blurted it out. That was fun.
Yeah, the meetup at the carnival was a lot of fun, because that was just sort of like an interesting way to do, because it just turned into various characters just accidentally running into one another, and then it ended in a fight, and since we were the ones with combat capabilities, we all jumped up to fight the thing that was in the middle of the room. And after that, like, oh, this was fun, we should do this professionally.
Yeah, we have to solve this, and then we just sort of stick together.
Yeah.
You're like, we've done something weird together, I guess we're friends now.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you slay one demon in the middle of a carnival, and all of a sudden you've made friends for life.
Suddenly you've taken up a weird name about being the bane of demons, and then you're just running around going, yeah, no, that's who we are. We kill demons, just so you know.
And like just one so demons. Far, but
for fun and profit.
Yeah, if you want to give us money for it, we won't say no.
We will always accept cash donations.
Nice. So what do you think would be a cool, unique meetup idea that you want to see used sometime?
I've done one a couple times when I was getting some home games off the ground. You meet in the middle of a train robbery.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like the way I set up is I give various characters a reason to be on this train going somewhere. And then as the let's kick the tires and see how this party works thing, all of a sudden a train robbery kicks off. And because you're the people who can fight, you get to put the robbery down. But as far as what I would like to see that I have not seen before, I don't know. I honestly would love to see something done in the style of Clue. You know, people show up for a dinner party because they're all given invitations by someone, either because someone is blackmailing them, or because there's some sort of mystery or a will reading or something like that. And then everything gets turned on its head because something weird happens. Like that setup I would like to see.
It'd be a really fun one shot too.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, like Clue, D&D Clue.
Yeah.
It was Professor Beholder in the library with the candlestick.
In hindsight, we should have suspected him all along.
We should have known just all the eyes, but you know,
so
it had those big thick glasses. Like 10 big thick glasses. Like it just.
But they all have like single frames, so it's like
like little monocles.
It's a bunch of monocles.
He's got 10 monocles.
So many monocles.
What? I mean, if it's 10 monocles, that becomes. What is the plural for monocles? Like a flock of monocles, a fleet of monocles.
A decacle. It would be a decacle.
He's got his decacles going.
Oh,
highly suspicious.
Never trust them with a decacle.
No. If it was like slightly less or more than that, it's the decacle is the problem, you know?
Yeah, it's the number, that specific number.
Yeah. Nautical, he's cool.
Is he though?
As far as we know, we've never seen someone with a nautical or a decacle.
Laura, what's your idea?
Just made this shit up now.
Anyway. I mean, as far as things that I haven't seen done before, I don't know. We just did a sort of secondary, you all meet in a tavern portion to bring more characters in to a campaign in which we did Magnificent Seven, basically, which I'd like to see like as like a literal opening to a campaign. Because one, it's one of my favorite movies, and two, it's just a really cool concept of all of these disparate people coming in to do like one good thing. Because it kind of, I like the idea of a bonding experience. And it's a good way to, if you don't have any established relationships, to introduce everybody together. Because your general balanced party has like somebody to fill every role. You know, you need this person to do organization, and you need this person who is, I don't know, maybe a sniper. And you need this person who is good with like educating, you know, townspeople to fight back. So I was really partial to the, well, you roll up on this town and there are all these other people prepared to do battle with a hobgoblin horde for these goblins. And let me introduce you to who will be your party members. It's like also a good way to like get a feel for what people can do.
Interesting.
Do you have one? Oh, wait, you can ask questions too.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha! Turn it on the host.
Put the host on the spot. Do it.
It's weird because I definitely like think of weird scenarios all the time, but now that I've been asked, I can't think of any.
Boo.
So I'm actually, no, never. How dare you? It stays in my brain, does not leave.
I mean, clearly it does.
Actually, I'm still kind of proud of the way that I opened the campaign that I ran that Serenity played in a while back, where the party actually all got kidnapped by a lich, and we sort of opened in media res with the lich being like, hey, I've kidnapped all of you and I have something you want to do. Here are the other people. I'm not going to introduce you, but you all work for me now or I'm going to kill you, which I thought was fun.
Very interesting.
That is a kind of fun way to do it.
Yeah, it was cool. I had like a whole like big, dark, dramatic reveal. I was like, you wake up, unable to move. There's a lich. Anyway,
Ta-da!
That was fun. I actually want to talk about sort of what goes into planning an entrance or a meetup of the party members for a campaign, because there's actually a lot of different moving parts there. Like, you've got to get everyone in the same area in a way that makes sense. You need to give them a reason to talk to each other. You need to introduce a plot hook as a reason for them to work together. So how do you kind of plan something like that?
You just sort of look at what everybody wants, you know, because when you've got enough going with various characters and you can dig into the backstory and find whatever is motivating them, you just ask, what do they want? What is it that this person is after? And then you use that to make them go in the direction that you want them to go and get them to the point where everything starts. And once you're there, you just see exactly how many different things you can tie in at once without overdoing it. You know, like if you know that there's like, I'm just going to pull various tropes out of my head. If you know that there is one character who is like the old TV series Kung Fu, walking the earth looking for their lost brother. Okay, fine. You can possibly find a lead on your brother if you go here. And, you know, you happen to be here. The lead didn't pan out, but you meet these people. If you are trying to do the classic, I have this thing and it must be thrown into fire and destroyed. Well, this place sure is on the way to where you got to go and chuck stuff into a fire for it to be destroyed. And, you know, while you're there, here are these people that you meet, and you sure could use some help getting that thing to the fire pit, couldn't you? You know, like, just figure out how you can use the players and all the characters' desires to get them to agree that it is a good idea to come together once you can get them in one spot. And then you just have to count on the players being like, well, meta, I can't say no to this. Otherwise we have to start over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one time you really count on metagaming from your players. Like, all right, you bastards, I'm putting you here to start a group. You have to work together. You have to work together. Otherwise, I got to start this whole party over again. And if I have to do that, this party's going to die spectacularly.
I will turn this whole party around.
Yeah.
So help me, I will turn this party around right now, and you'll never see Disneyland.
Hey, Disneyland. You get trapped on a ride together at Disneyland.
Hey.
Anyway.
In all fairness, a really good idea for like a one shot or something would actually be the Haunted Mansion.
Yes, definitely.
But that's just
or
me.
trapped in a theme park.
I worked in the Haunted Mansion, so I'm biased.
Yeah. I think one of the things you really need to be mindful of is you need to build in something that will bond your characters together.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that time we killed that guy? Good times.
Like for the Shields of Twilight, it was, well, you all kind of need to look for that guy, and also shrieking death.
And that's another t-shirt we should make: Shields of Twilight and also shrieking death. I've come up with 2 shirts in one night. I'm on a roll.
And also fake out TPK, which honestly has to be one of the best ways that I've ever been in a campaign to have the group bonded together. Because like we kind of had no choice, but also like there is this sort of deep we thought we died moment that kind of ties everybody together.
Just a little trauma to bond the group together.
Trauma.
Shared trauma does create bonds.
It's true. I mean, you don't have to have shared trauma, but it did work really well for the current campaign. But I think one of the other things that you have to do is establish some relationships. Like it really helps if you don't all go in as 7 strangers. Because one of the things that worked really well for us getting together as a group in our campaign is some of us did walk in on our own. Like Ball and I came in by ourselves, but we also had the Cynric and Dobby pairing that walked in, and we had the Quinn and Oriana pairing that walked in. So we had a connection, because it's, especially if you are a socially awkward person like me, having that initial meetup and not your character not knowing anybody makes it really hard, because you don't, my instinct is not to walk up to a stranger like, hi. I mean, it's Perry's instinct because she's Perry. And only because like that's the only way she's gonna get some information. Hi, do you know where this place is? I need to go to this place. But like establishing a connection and a reason to get together is so important, because otherwise it A, doesn't feel organic, and B, can lead to about 3 hours of a session where your players are all just staring at each other going, well, I buy a drink. What's that funny looking goblin's name? I'm gonna remember that forever. Rather than, oh, cool, there's the barbarian, I need to meet him, we have to form a party. That sort of thing.
Right. So I've been in games, usually like starting at higher levels where we sort of start after the party had a couple of adventures together, like they're already a party. What do you think about that versus coming in as strangers?
I think it's a good way to operate sometimes, because if you're trying to get something where you don't want any kind of weird ambiguity of like how are they going to work out and what are they going to be able to do as far as getting them together, you can always use, not you meet in a tavern, you met in a tavern about 6 months ago. And you've been friends, working together as sort of like a band of mercs, basically, and since that point. And then it also gives you an excuse for your players to just sort of talk out like, okay, well, this is the stuff that I can do. This is how I would do, like, this is how I would go about doing crap. Y'all would know this stuff. Yeah. It's a quick and dirty start for like, if you don't want to have to get everybody right into the nitty gritty immediately of, all right, I need you to come with I need you to come with everything you would ever need us to know about your character prepared from the jump. It's you've been doing this for a while. Here's a job you just picked up. Because then the focus isn't on how you guys meet and how your characters interact. The focus is on do the quest, do the job, do the thing, complete the task. And then while you're doing that, it would give people time to sort of get into their character and get comfortable with what they're doing and how they're doing it, and then branch it back out from there.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a way to go.
It can be a little bit difficult because, you know, there's this sort of assumption like, okay, well, the party's been together for 6 months. They know each other, but they don't. That kind of leads to a little bit of like difficulty. Because like you get into your first combat and this, while your party has technically known each other for 6 months and it's probably fought like numerous things, you don't know somebody's fighting style. You don't know, you know, somebody's abilities right off the bat. So it's really on you as a player to behind the scenes at least a little bit, and I'm not talking meta, but like have a conversation about what we know. Because it's not meta to say, okay, well, we've been traveling together for 6 months and you know that Perry panic wild shapes. Like, you know this. It's a thing. I mean, you know, no, we don't need like, okay, well, this is what we prepare every day,
Yeah.
But like you do need to establish what your characters know about each other. Who is close? Who butts heads all the time? Who is the person that does the strategy? And it does give you sort of an opportunity to like work together to figure out, well, who are we as a party? We've been together for 6 months and we need to know, like, what do we do together? So it can be harder, but at the same time, like Chad said, it's a lot easier to not have that awkwardness of, well, I don't know you at all. You know nothing about me. I am a complete stranger who does weird shit. What are we going to do about that?
That's the description for every D&D character. A complete stranger who does weird shit.
We all do weird shit.
We do some weird shit.
D&D is just doing weird shit with strangers.
It's true.
Like college, really.
A little bit.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, So I've something I've seen some DMs do is they'll take kind of a whole episode to get the whole party together. Like everyone will have individual threads, which will get woven in. So it's sort of like a hybrid session 0 than the first session 2. So session 0, then the party meet cute. As it were. What do you think
you meet cute in a tavern.
Yeah, you meet cute in a tavern. What do you think the advantages of doing this are versus like just kind of starting with the party meeting?
It's an interesting idea because I'm for the idea of having session 0s for people just so you can get things moving, get people comfortable, and help them figure out exactly how they're going to play whatever their character is. The idea of having a bunch of people present for everyone's session 0, and then you just take that and then you roll directly from there immediately into the actual game and just hit the ground running. It would be an interesting way to get everybody in the headspace of, you know, like, especially if you're doing like these are your session 0s and then you guys have been working together for a minute, the session 0 would be a way of, okay, so I've seen you do that. Now I know these things about your character just because I was sitting here and listening as a human being and can extrapolate character knowledge from that point. And even if you're doing just session 0 and then you meet in a tavern is the next line that comes out, it would still do the same thing because then, you know, in the back of people's minds, they're going to feel like, thinking of, okay, well, now here's this character, and then subconsciously these are ways that my character would connect with said character. So then you don't have that awkwardness. It's like if you see someone out someplace and you basically you look at the person and you can kind of based on their appearance, based on their body language, based on what it is they're doing, you can kind of get a read on them, and you can get information that even though descriptions from other players are going to be a great help, it's not a substitute for being able to actually visually experience whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing could actually supplement the information that a person looking at another human being would provide. So that is a very interesting idea. I might steal that sometime.
Oh, I like that idea a lot because of what Chad said. I mean, it's like when we went to the Ren Fair, we saw people and we're like, oh no, I can totally talk to this person. Because, you get a feel for, oh yeah, no, they're wearing, the same stuff I'm wearing, or we have this in common. And it also just lets you know instinctively, like, okay, well, I know how I might react to that. Because otherwise it's all cold, and it kind of eases you in a little bit more, because there's not that frozen moment where you're like, I don't know how I'd interact with this person or what they're doing. But if you
how
see
do you talk to people?
Yeah.
How do I people?
Yeah.
That's my problem. How do I people?
How do I people? How do I talk to people? I don't know. I don't talk to people. But like the idea of knowing, at least on a base level, a general idea of, okay, well, I've seen them do this, this, and this. Okay, here's a piece of common ground, or here's a piece of contention, something to give you something to build on. Because otherwise, you have to go through like maybe 3 or 4 sessions of like awkward RP around RP around the watch, until you get a feel for everyone, and then things smooth out.
Awesome. Okay. That is our time for tonight. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. Always a delight. Yeah. Do I have something else I wanted to mention? I don't think so. I'll think of it in like 2 hours. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, audience, for post to Discord. Thank you, audience, for tuning in once again on another beautiful Tuesday. Beautiful June Tuesday. Tune on Friday for Perry's Theories and also other things. We'll be continuing our donation drive on Fridays, so think crit thoughts. We need them.
But think the good crit thoughts. Please, God, think the good crit thoughts. We need more of those.
We donate for either one, but we do some 20s.
That's $1.
We're happier about the 20s, though, at least if they come on our and not the DM's end.
Yeah, but the dollars are a cold comfort when we get the crit ones, too.
They do make you feel a little bit better, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I failed miserably. At least
especially those double nat ones on a save.
For a good cause.
Yeah.
For a good cause. Anyway, check out our Twitch. We have some of our older videos still up. You can rewatch those. Check out our YouTube. We have all of our videos there. Check out our Discord. I'll be posting the thing that I'm forgetting right now there in maybe 3 hours.
The time's gone up. It used to be 2.
Look, I want to give myself enough time. I've got other stuff to do at night too.
That's fair.
Look, I can't only ponder this. I have homework and stuff.
Fair point.
Wonderful. We post memes there, and we've got some cool stuff up on our Patreon now. We've got a little bit of behind the scenes stuff and some cosplay. So, if you want to pay $1 for that, it's up there and you can look at it and it's cool. Check out our store. We've still got t-shirts and tank tops and a mug. If I'm not misremembering that, I believe there's a mug. I'm getting nods. There is a mug.
Yes.
It's a great mug.
The mug does exist.
The mug does exist, and it can be yours for like $9. I don't know.
An amount of money.
An amount of money. Thank you to Sunbird and Lady Meows for doing our logo and our theme music, which we use every week. It continues to be beautiful. Stick around for links. We've got our donation drive link up on the title card as well as the other normal ones. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Happy
Yay.
Pride.